I have a private practice which after COVID moved more online, which is beautiful because then I get to work globally with people, with individuals, with couples, and with groups. And that work really is about meeting the person, the people, exactly where they are. And that is a beautiful piece because it's a bit like Carl Jung said. He said, read all of the books and then forget them all. And it is a little bit like that because I feel working with people is not a methodological, structured kind of pathway. It is more about an energetic fit where you recognize what that person is looking for, is coming to you for. And that can be a wide range of things, whether it's relationship problems or whether it is to find their potential and purpose and significance in life, whether it is to really look at issues that they have felt they have held since childhood, which have to do with certain traumas people have been through. It can be a wide range. And then I get to meet that person in that space to work through the patterns of behavior that might be influencing their life in negative ways. It is about understanding the behavioral patterns, the emotional and the psychological, spiritual perspectives. How we meet life is very important, and most of us see life as how we are rather than how life is. And that's a journey in understanding, oh, this is my perspective and this is reality. That's an interesting piece. And so we get to understand those different patterns of behavior and we move towards what might be called the descent. And the descent is an opportunity to face, like I said previously, those deeper, darker, more shadowy aspects of our being and face them. And in doing so, we grow an emotional resilience, we grow robustness, and we surprise ourselves. Because most of us don't realize how capable we are until we face things that perhaps previously we would never have allowed ourselves to face. And so there is this descent, and you get to meet parts of yourself that need loving. And I really call the descent on many levels of falling in love with yourself. And I mean that really from a deep, visceral space. Because if you don't love yourself, as the cliche goes, how do you love someone else? And in that moment where you start to love aspects of yourself, you start to understand why you behave or why you were conditioned or how you were molded and shaped in a certain way, and who you thought you were as one particular identity actually gets to change. It gets to transform. Because then you start to feel deeper elements of yourself that are perhaps more sensitive, that are perhaps more joyful, more real, more powerful, without that being a false notion. It's not an effort in. You come home to yourself and you get to experience what we might call relaxed confidence. And in that space, I believe there's a birthing of sovereignty, a birthing of dignity, a birthing of just a union of your different aspects, the union of the masculine and the feminine, the union of the power and the sensitive, the union of what we might call the good and the bad. And when they come together and there's an integration, I think it gives that much more boldness, that much more dignity to your expression and how you meet life and how you take care of yourself. You know, and then that nurturing of one's own being and one's own soul becomes such a passionate, delicious way to live your life. And that's what I call a lifestyle. And so working with people, I get to work through all of those different arenas and meet people really in their true authenticity, which becomes such a joy. That's where, you know, your vocation becomes a vacation.